So there's a big gap in Christians' education about their own Christianity. Søren Kierkegaard, who was highly alert to this, was interested in how do we become and stay and thrive as Christians in a world where everybody already thinks they know what Christianity is. Whether you know it or not, we're all very Kierkegaardian. So if you have ever taken a leap of faith or know someone who has, that idea came to us because of him. His name lies behind a lot of the ideas that really influence our modern life. So I first discovered Kierkegaard when I was working in a bookshop, and the employee discount was a useful thing because it allowed me to read books by people whose names I'd heard but never really read, some of the great classics, right? And one of those books was a book called Fear and Trembling by somebody named Søren Kierkegaard. I'd heard the name, never knew anything about the book, so I sat down and started reading it. And it was like the bottom of my world dropped out. I felt vertigo. And then as time went on and I decided to go to university, I decided to study philosophy and theology just so I could read more Kierkegaard, because I knew that I wasn't going to read him unless somebody made me, and I wasn't going to understand it unless somebody helped me. And as I was dislocated from my home country and I was now living in another country, I was already starting to think, how does my culture that I grew up in relate to my Christianity? And so reading Kierkegaard helped me to start to come to grips with that. It started me thinking, and he started to describe a world to me that I instinctively had sensed, but I had never really looked at before. How are you going to be walked through this course? So one of my approaches to talking about him, to way to introduce his thought, is to actually just tell the story of his life. And he deliberately was writing so as to make your life matter, and he was trying to engage with you as a person. The series of talks and the book itself then also leads to a discussion about what it feels like to actually read Kierkegaard and to be on the sharp end of some of his writing. So the talks are his life, going through the highs and lows of his life. We touch on why he was so unpopular, why there were riots at his funeral, why children weren't named Søren for 2 generations after he died. We touch on why this Christian writer could become so unpopular in a country that calls itself Christian. And then we touch on some of the things that he says and what it feels like to read his works today. I encourage you to take this course because you will find it interesting and important, but I also give you a warning, because Kierkegaard might change your life. I know he changed mine.